Hi there, I'm Michael Bovee with Consumer Recovery Network. Thanks for tuning in to DebtBytes, our YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about how to resolve debt with a specific debt collector, GC Services. Throughout our YouTube channel we do talk about specific debt collectors. We break them out individually because sometimes things can change, your expectations, the reality of dealing with that collector has to change given the circumstances. And in this case, GC Services, well, they're a contingency collector. They collect, basically they get paid if they get you to pay. They do tend to work with some very specific creditors. So like American Express, a lot of accounts go to GC, and then Citibank also, and a ton of other banks and types of debts that they'll collect on. But when they get an account, they might get it pre-charge-off. And so there's quite a bit of discussion in videos on this channel about dealing with debt pre-charge-off and post-charge-off. We've discussed that on those other videos and on our main website and on articles, so I won't belabor it here, but there's a big difference. And if GC Services, for example, is collecting on an American Express debt that has not been charged off by American Express, the ability to get a great outcome, or some of our targeted outcomes for Amex accounts, which we have a video about Amex, so you can watch that too, it's not real. It's very much more difficult to get GC Services. Let's say they're going to have it for 60 days, they're going to write to you and call you and try and get you to agree to some kind of payment. Or if they're going to settle, they're going to aim for a much higher dollar amount than I would typically try for on an Amex account because of how early it is, because it's pre-charge-off. That situation can change. It's fluid. Banks will lower their, what they allow collectors to take and things like that. Or you might have a special circumstance that might get you over the line with GC Services and get them to go to bat for you and see if they can get an exception from the normal policies. Citibank is a good example. I've dealt with GC Services on behalf of my customers and gotten some things approved in pre-charge-off, post-charge-off on Citibank accounts because the situation warranted that they do go to bat for you. They will work hard to try and not just get an acceptable deal for you that you can fund, but obviously they're working in their own interest. They get paid if they get you to pay, right? And this is not specific to GC. The most common type of debt collector in the US is this type of collector, a contingency debt collector. And if you recognize that their goal is to get money for who hired them, it's also for them to make money. So you can use that knowledge and some realistic expectations. Again, don't think that you're going to settle your debt for pennies on the dollar. It's a phrase that's thrown around a lot, but it's quite a misnomer actually, because very few debts ever get settled for pennies on the dollar. And if you define pennies, as I do, as under a dime, under 10 cents, it's just not a real target. But if you have realistic goals and you have some cash flow and or ability to get your hands on money to resolve debt with GC Services, they're pretty easy to talk to. They're not somebody that you should be afraid to call. You're going to be able to have a cordial, non-confrontational, if you will, type of discussion with them. You just need to be prepared. So be careful in how you approach trying to resolve a debt with GC. If all you want is payments, or to structure some kind of, let's say you owe $3,000 to Citibank or something like that, and it was what it was 5 months ago, but you're in a position, you got laid off, you found another job, you're back at it, GC's contacting you, you really couldn't afford to come up with the money to settle, which I would advise, given if you're more than 90 days late, usually I advise you to try and settle because the damage to your credit's done and some other reasons. But let's say all you can do is $150 a month, $200 a month, they'll take it. They're going to work with you to set up those payments. Just make the phone call, talk to them. They're going to be really easy to communicate with when you're trying to arrange some kind of payment system like that. Settling, also going to be pretty easy to talk to. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you have a situation where you want my advice or my feedback about what to target for settling with GC Services, you're more than welcome to post in the comments below, and or you can reach me live through the hotline that you see on the screen. Option 2 rings my phone. Look forward to seeing you on the next video.